Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another Wolfram language design review, part of our language completeness and consistency series. And our first topic that we actually already started on has to do with the display of difference root and root objects. And what we're talking about is uh,
Right. So
making
I
more
did use,
mathematician friendly.
Stephen, it's worth pointing out that I did use sort of the more text, in part because there aren't really a lot of properties I can display. I used a more textual approach for differential root. So if you click on the differential root and, not everybody loves this. So I just, um, but
Okay, look, let's. I wonder if maybe we could see if Jeremy is available. We could perhaps try and do a little bit of design here. Let me see that, please.
Yeah.
Carla, could you check?
Sure.
The uh look, I think the most important thing is to be able to say, you know, almost traditional form. What is this? Right? If we could give our favorite sort of representation of what this is, I'm not wild about the gray on gray, whatever. Let's give, what is this? This is a root of, we're not even really saying what it is. I mean, this is
right. Right. In this case, right. I mean, it's a little weird that we call these differential roots, right? I mean, right. They're solutions to this homogeneous equation, uh,
yeah,
with those initial conditions. And difference root is similar, right? It's a solution to the difference, homogeneous difference equation, which, different, right? Here you have an unknown number of initial conditions because it depends not just on the order, but also on the coefficients and which
yeah.
direction you want to go in. So,
Okay, but I think we want to say sort of the brand is difference root. This needs design. This thing here needs some design.
I agree. I was going to make it a bit more like root, but ran into the difficulty of I wasn't
Okay,
sure
but
what to
let's
put in
let's
there.
did we manage to find Jeremy, or are we going to?
I'm trying to reach you.
Okay, all right, okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
So look, what I'm suggesting, maybe we can go to a different topic here,
Yeah,
and
I
come
was
back
going
to
to
this.
say, why don't we
But
start with negative up to, and we
okay,
can
but
always.
let me give you my what I think we should be doing here. I think there should be a sort of a difference root or a root or whatever it is, kind of um, badge on here to say that's what this thing is. Then on white, there should be a nice, very clean thing where we say at the top something like, you know, solution to in
Right?
textual stuff, and then a big, the white thing on white, not gray on gray, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just our version of what this should be. So in this case, it would be, I don't really see the point of stacking it here. It would just be a list, this, comma, that, comma, that.
Well, right, those equations can be huge, so stacking it makes it
I see.
real.
Okay, fine. So then
But
there's
but
some
but
elision.
I mean, something that has been suggested is maybe we only need two rows, one for the equation and one for the initial conditions. I mean, initial conditions can also be big, but typically they're
Well, I
tiny.
don't understand why we don't just elide. We just put it in a list, because the list is what you want to copy, and
Hmm.
then elide them here. Make this really a not necessarily actually traditional form, but a really friendly version of this with elision. Okay,
Okay.
and then what we say underneath here, we didn't say here, um, is we say something like copy, or copy. What do we want to say? In this case, we'd say copy equation.
Well, copy equation with initial conditions,
Just
but
I think it's good enough to say copy equation. If the whole thing
okay.
is in a list here, I think just saying copy equation is fine.
Okay.
And I think that's that one. But now let's look at this root.
Right. And we have like at least, I believe we have six subtypes, like five different root types plus algebraic number, and there may be something else I'm forgetting that goes into
Okay.
here.
All right. So then, but I think what we should do. Okay, let's look at this one here, which is a pure root. Okay. Again, I think we should have the little brand signal that it says root.
Okay.
Up here. And then it should have the explanatory thing, univariate polynomial root. Okay. So in
Okay.
other words, it's sort of the brand root in kind of code font, and then subtitle without saying type, just say univariate polynomial root. Then
So just to make sure I understand, we're thinking sort of like an entity. So there's like country, there's the little
yeah,
stripe at the top.
I think so. I
Okay.
think so. I think that's. I'm trying to remember what you're referring to there. Give me an example.
Um,
Okay.
or
So
maybe I'm not thinking of entity. Maybe I'm thinking of
what the heck is that?
uh,
What the heck is that?
I didn't see what you typed in, but
Well,
obviously
I typed
something's not.
Italy and I got back a nice thing, and then when I clicked on it, I got this.
Okay, John, what version are you? Is this 13? I mean 14.3?
Yeah, John.
Sorry, I was not watching when you did it.
Well, I'll do it again. That worked fine. And now I clicked on this, and it worked this time. The last time it did that. This is the thing that's happened multiple times to me, that the first time I do one of these things, it fails in this horrifying way.
Okay. Yeah, so it's
So all right. Well, I think what I'm thinking of is not so much entity, but like information of entity. So if you now do information.
Yeah, okay, fine. But let's just deal with this bug first.
Okay.
John,
yeah,
is there anything
so
else you want me to do to debug this?
this would only happen if you have the thing with the check mark still in it. This would not happen with a finalized entity. It's the whole check mark mechanism
Okay,
that
but okay, so there, and now I click this, right?
yeah.
Well, it worked this time, but it didn't work the first
Right,
time.
right. But yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that this is the mechanism to basically be able to re-edit your
I
control
understand that,
equal
but I'm
up.
saying there's a bug right here. So what are we doing about
yes, I agree. I'm
Okay,
just
so I'm going
clarifying
to
what
tell
the
you
bug
I've
is.
seen this multiple times, right? Usually with the first thing I do in a session.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that suggests
so
some sort of auto-loading problem, right?
yes.
So yes.
Is there anything
yes,
you would
we
like
can-
me to do to help you debug this?
I don't think so.
Okay,
And
fine.
even if there were, I think it's too late anyway. But this seems like something that
Yeah, this just happened. This just happened
probably
to me.
be tracked down.
Right. So there's the entity stripe, and then there's the Italy country.
Yes, I like it. I like it. That's a good way to do it. We could say here root, and then we could have it subtitle, univariate polynomial, whatever it is, and then we give, I don't know, the detailed words aren't necessarily right, but I mean, then this is the main event, this is the polynomial, then it would say at the top here something like root, first root of, and then the polynomial nicely formatted here, whatever it is, with x's and so on, and then it would have the button underneath that says
It should probably say copy function or copy code, right? If it's going to copy the pure function,
right. I mean, say
copy as code.
Yeah, is that what we want? I think that's not terrible. See, copy function worries me a bit.
Mhm.
Let me think. Copy. I'm thinking about things like copy polynomial, but that doesn't really make sense. Copy polynomial function.
Yeah, I thought about that, but that I wasn't super convinced by it either.
Right. I'm not. Let's see this case. What do we say? Copy transcendental function? That's kind of weird. How about copy polynomial as code? Copy, yeah.
Expression as code. or
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, expression is code.
yeah.
How about copy function form? Copy in function form. Copy in function.
Copy in function.
No, I'm saying copy in function form.
Oh, like that. Okay. For all of them, and then it will.
Yes.
Yep.
But is that what it will do for these ones here?
No, because
Okay. Well, then it will be copy as a copy equation in this case.
yep.
I think that will work.
Okay, I will.
But the most important thing is that the friendly, I'm just a mathematician type display here. No code type thing.
Okay, this will not happen instantly, but
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
but I
All
I
right.
will work on this.
Sounds good. Okay. Should we go to our next topic? I assume we didn't find Jeremy.
No, sorry.
All right. Negative UpTo's.
Right.
Okay.
So obviously this is a big meaty topic.
Could be very easy if we just figured it out.
Yeah, we should go back and have the discussions we had when we first set up UpTo. And I
I remember we talked about this and we decided not to do it then because we didn't quite know what to do. I
well,
love
I think it's
UpTo.
fundamentally ambiguous.
Well, okay. I just want to make a a kind of a promotional statement. I love UpTo. UpTo is a big success. Just saying. I mean, does everybody agree with that statement? No, nobody has an opinion.
Yeah, I think it's quite useful, and I found other uses for it than
So have I.
some of the original stuff, which makes sense actually. That
I put it into a bunch of functions I've defined. It's just really useful. It's a useful concept. So having said that, then the question is, how do we extend that concept to so what does it mean? I mean, just so we understand, what does it actually mean?
Right. Right. So right. So I mean, this is part of the question. Right. So Mark made a proposal.
Okay, but I'm wondering about this case, right?
Okay, right. And so well, right. And then the question is is it up to what is up to of -4, or is it minus up to of 4, which is not currently supported, but
No, I
yes, one
understand.
idea is yes, minus up to of 4 could mean
I think this is actually somewhat reasonable. I mean, that I think we can give a meaning to. It means, and now, I mean, if we say up to -4, I really do think that just means, you go -5, -6, -5, -4. Well, that maybe is crazy.
no. So what I think minus up to a 4 is what's called the down to of -4 in this proposal, which
Okay.
is just a starting point for discussion. But
and we talked about a possible down to way back when we first came up with
Indeed,
UpTo.
I remember.
Decided not to do it.
oh,
Yeah,
I
we
didn't
decided not to do it.
I didn't even remember that.
Yeah,
Maybe
we
I wasn't in
decided
that
not to do
meeting.
it. I think
Well,
down
we
to
weren't sure
-4 is
about it.
very obscure.
Well, I think it's better than minus in front of UpTo being interpreted.
Well, just think this through for a moment, okay?
I mean,
You know, Go
right.
ahead.
I think minus up to, I mean, this doesn't generalize to span is I think sort of the problem, but in terms of like take, this is sort of natural, right? Minus n means take n from the end. So minus up to of n would be take up to n from the end.
Right. Nick is resharing his recent comment. Do you have Nick's comments on here in some other way?
That's probably in related WFRs, which I think his span range is actually wrong on various things, but he has. Right, like for example, the fact that there's no 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 anywhere here, I think, or and is an issue.
Well, there isn't there,
But
okay. Let's just look at. Andrew is asking, would negative up to return in reverse order? Yes, he's pointing out that minus up to 4 versus up to minus 4 could, and I shudder at this thought, one of them could reverse the list.
no, none of these will reverse the list. I mean, so in the difference that that Nick makes and similarly is sort of what Mark makes using down to is that up to of negative n is interpreted as sort of a negative, take, right? That's jump, right? That's, if the number is negative, that inside the up to, then that means that goes in the first slot, right? It's like, right, sort of -4 comma all. Um, Whereas if it's a negative up to, then that goes, um,
What are we talking about?
at the end.
I don't understand.
Right. So,
Well, here, I want to come back to, because I have to say that although I was initially like, you can't be serious about this minus up to 4, I'm really warm to this. And let me try and explain it again. Minus is a signal that you're taking from the end. And you'd read this as take from the end up to 4 elements.
yep. And in fact, I agree that this is a somewhat natural syntax. I mean, it doesn't generalize to the 3 arg case, right? This would only, I don't think,
What 3-arg case?
the 3-element list intake or a span with 3 elements.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I see. So you're saying, okay, so hold on. So this case would deal with, but what you're saying, if I say take, range of 20, comma, 3, 17, 4 or something.
Right.
Right. Yeah, I think it's hopeless in that case. I mean, I don't even know what happens if you say,
Well,
I guess,
you can do take 3 comma -3 comma 4 or something.
yeah, that works fine. So then you could say here minus up to 3. Does it work to do? Hold on.
What if you had up to 3 and minus up to 3?
Well, hold on. Let's look at that for a second. Let's look at that. Let's look at it. Okay, so here, if I say up to 21, right, that works fine. So I can do an up to. What happens here if I say up to? This should work, right? Up to 3 would just work.
Exactly.
Right, but if I say here, so if I say up to 21, I'm going to get 1 element. So that's fine. Okay. So now here, I say minus up to 3. What does that mean? That means I'm counting from the end. And in this case, if I said minus up to 3, it's all good. But if I said minus up to 25, that would be equivalent to the first element, would it not? Element 1.
Well,
Yes.
If you did, well, what happens if you did 3, 1, right? You know, that I
It'll
think
give
would
me
be an
nothing.
error, or would that be an empty
Give me
list?
nothing. It'll give me nothing. I mean, this is the only case where that would do anything.
Right. Well, and the question is, should that be 1 or should that be an empty list? But
This
yeah,
here? No, this should absolutely be one element.
okay.
Just like, look here, I'm going to demonstrate. This here will be one element.
Right. But what if you do 1, 0?
Well, a one, I don't know what 0 even means. I mean, if that goes down, now if I say 1 minus 2, obviously I'm going to get the big span.
Yep.
But if I'd said 1 minus 25, I'm going to get an error.
Right.
If I said 1 minus 20, which is the up to, minus up to 20, up to 25, right? Which would mean, in this particular case, just give the 20. Just
Right. But I believe you can also give a minus 21.
here?
Yeah. Right. But at minus 22, you get the error.
Okay, fine. This is a slightly corner case, the minus 21.
Yes. Right. The 0 and the n+1 are treated specially so that, you know, to allow you to get to the limiting case of an empty list rather
Yeah,
than
okay.
a singleton list.
Fair enough. I'm
So,
not
so
very-
with minus up to in the second argument, we want to minimize the length of the list, not maximize the length of the list.
What do you mean? What do you mean by second argument? You mean that second
Yes,
position? Or-
exactly. There, you are saying that that should be the shortest possible list.
That's correct, because it's minus, it's counting from the end, and you're going up to 25. You didn't actually make it to 25 because you only had a list of length 20.
Right. It's just that I was thinking that you could read it also as maximize the list going down from the end up to 25.
I'm not
I'm
understanding.
not sure I followed that, Jose.
Well, with up to, we typically want to maximize sizes. So I understand that minus reverses that, but I still find it a bit odd.
I'm not thinking of it as maximizing sizes. I'm thinking of it as avoiding an error message by basically saying, look, if it isn't that long, just, set it to how long it can be.
Mhm.
And here, if it doesn't go back that far from the end, set it to whatever it can be.
Yes, it says that takeoff range minus up to 25 reads nice, and it still gives you the longest possible result. But when we put it in the list, suddenly it behaves as find the minimum.
I don't think it's sudden. I mean, I think that, look, okay, so
But no, but because yes, negative, but I think that's what it always is, right? When you have a negative n, right, that's telling you what the
what
right.
does this do? If this says minus
Fine.
20,
I mean, Jose's, I think that's not a problem because we're taking the largest number, 25 or less, that we can possibly use there. And so it's not
Mhm.
necessarily maximizing the length of the list, it's taking the largest possible number less than or equal to 25 that will work.
okay, so I think Jose is worrying about the following identity.
Yeah.
That is equivalent to take, comma 7.
Right.
Okay. This is equivalent to whatever it's equivalent to. But now,
Right, but that's not equivalent to take of minus 7,
still
right?
not
Take of minus 7 is minus 7 comma all minus 1.
yeah, right. So in fact, there isn't such an identity. That's totally different. Take 1 comma minus 7 is totally different from take minus 7.
Right. That's why I was saying that sort of negative up to is more natural than up to of negative, because
I agree. I think up to of negative is a loser. I think it's very unclear what it means. I think that it initially looks very weird. And we haven't done this very often of having a symbolic thing like that inside an arithmetic operation.
Brett just told me about we apparently do this in Arrowhead. you can have a negative small to reverse the direction of the arrowhead. But he thinks that's really
That's
weird and
documented.
doesn't like it.
Yeah. I think that's really weird. I'm going to say that too. I think this is good. Now, what are some other functions that use UpTo?
Right. So obviously take span. Now we do it in like
Wait a minute.
images.
Does this work in span? Do we have a? I mean, so if I say range of 20,
Right. If it works in the 3-argument list form of take, it should work in span, right? Those are
Yes.
basically the same thing.
yeah, okay. Okay. Other places.
Right now we use it in like for like image sizes, and I don't know what a negative up to would mean in an image size.
What does a negative mean in image size anyway?
Yeah,
No,
I don't know.
yeah. That's why I kept my mouth shut, because I don't think it's relevant.
Okay.
And it will just error out in that case.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's lovely in image size, by the way.
Right.
Nick is reminding us about partition.
Yeah. Oh, right. So partition is another place where we use up to, and I'm not sure what a negative up to would mean in partition. Of course, who knows what the 9 arguments of partition mean?
Well, but this is the nice thing. That this
Right.
is partition. I mean, we use it. Yeah, I mean, I use it all the time in partition.
This is a comprehensible way of truncating lists. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I use it
Right.
all the time. All the
No,
time.
no. I'm not saying that up to is bad in partition. I'm saying that the 9 argument. I mean,
Yes.
I once started to ask Rob about a question about multi-argument partition, and it's like, no. I take no responsibility for this.
Right. We
Um,
should make
you cook for
an
that.
association form of partition.
But
Okay.
this argument cannot be negative, so I think the problem doesn't appear.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if this
I
argument.
can't see how it could possibly mean anything is negative. I mean, this is
Yeah.
ordinality versus cardinality. This is kind of a cardinal number as
Mhm.
opposed to some ordinal number here.
Right. And that's the other argument why the minus should be on the upside, because up to sounds like a cardinal, something that has a cardinal in it, not an ordinal. At
That's
least to
true.
me.
No, you mean it's an ordinal. It up to means an ordinal. We're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to whatever, as opposed to a cardinal. Well, who knows? I don't know that this is.
It's something that has a natural positive limit.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I think we got a winner here. I think minus up to should be supported in take and friends.
Okay.
That's nice. All right. Let's have one quick look at take until.
Right. So you offhand ask, should we have a take until as a complement to take while? And my response was, well, what's special about take while? Because we have a bunch of while functions, and we didn't even have an until 13.1. So,
Okay, so I've been using take while, and the issue is how do you get the other case, right? So let's say I say take while, and then I say random integer minus 10 to 10, 20, take while hash greater than 0. Okay.
mhm.
Did I make some stupid mistake, or is this?
Huh.
I think if the first one was negative, then you get empty list. Am I confused?
Right. Yes, but it's odd that those are all.
Add an echo
Oh,
in
there
the
we
front.
go. We finally got one.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get some better ones. Okay. This was actually a really bad example because we don't know what the underlying thing was.
Well, maybe you
But-
should generate one and then apply it to take while, so we know.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
with an echo in front of the random integer.
Oh, that's a good idea. Very simple. Okay, all right, fine. So the only point about take until will be you'd get the -1, right? How do I get the -1 otherwise? See what I'm saying?
Isn't there like an option or an additional argument to take while about that exact thing?
Take while looks pretty weak here.
Huh, okay. I could have sworn that we had endless discussions, or maybe this was a nest and not.
Nest while. Nest while has a lot of stuff in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has a lot of look back capability.
So,
I mean, that's my point. I don't know how to get that thing. And writing code that turns the while into an until is really messy.
mm-hmm.
And I kind of feel like it's conceptually simple to say take until and just, you got to be able to get the delimiter, so to speak.
So how do we handle this in nest while? Maybe there's an easy.
Let's look. What was that thing, by the way? Drop trailing while. Is that what I think it is? Has a okay, so the one issue is, well, some of these issues we could repeat because take while is an element by element thing, whereas nest while has the possibility of spanning multiple elements that
Right.
applies the test to.
Yeah, so maybe that's what I was thinking of, and it's not really relevant.
I mean, we could imagine that take, goes across multiple elements, but I just don't think that's particularly useful.
Yeah.
I think the function that has this argument is fold while.
Well, I mean, it seems it's easier to do in take while than nest while because you don't have to save the results. You have the list there. And your random example, you would take while, total of, whatever is great, is less than or equal to 5 or something until you get the numbers that add up to 5.
Sorry, I'm looping because where the heck's fold while in the C alsos? It should be there.
It should be there, yes.
Okay, sorry, Rob, can you say what you were saying again?
What I'm trying to say is it's kind of the same thing as it is a nest while with the M, okay, except it's actually easier because you have the elements of the list there. And with your random example, the thing that I would do with that would be to, generate a bunch of random numbers and take them until they sum up to a certain value, right? So, and that would be the M would do that very handily.
Yeah.
Right. So fold while basically says give me, an additional argument which says give me the next n after the test failed. So then you could give 1 and you would get the -1, right?
Yes. But right now, I mean, so we could, in principle, have an M and an N take while. An M for the bucketing. And an N for the extra-ing.
Right, although that sort of fundamentally changes what the criterion is, right?
Yeah, it does, and I don't really like it very much. I mean, this overhang, personally, I think it'd be better just to have a take until and not address this whole question about whether, maybe years from now we'll add extra arguments to take while to deal with this more complicated case. But I don't feel like that's warranted right now because there's only one case we really care about. I mean, it's interesting that we've never really needed nest until. Why have we not needed nest until? Oh, because we've got these extra arguments. I don't know. What do other people think?
I think having take while with an extra argument, maybe the extra argument take while can be something simple like, take an extra n things after you met the condition.
Right,
And
but
that
to be
would not only
consistent, yeah.
That would not only do until, but that would do, an arbitrary number.
No, I know, but to be consistent with nest while, it should have an M, which is how big a block of things to put into the test, as well as an N for how many extra times to go.
Right. I mean, the reason I'm suggesting that as a possibility is it may be obvious to you that until adds the extra argument, but it's not obvious to me.
It's only obvious to me because I've used until kind of constructs before. I mean,
Right. Okay.
I think it would be better to have the take until because it follows until and it doesn't prevent us from having take while following nest while and fold while.
Yes. But then the next question is, why don't we have a nest until? Because we don't need it, because it has more sophisticated arguments that will let you do that anyway.
This is the sort of situation in which we eventually cover all cases. So,
indeed.
Right. And why don't we need a length until?
Because you never need that, because you just add one.
I see. Okay.
I think there's a bug in that last note for nest while. Oh, when Ed had a pin. Sorry,
Sorry, you said you just add one, and I'm trying to remember what happens when the condition is never true.
Let's look.
Should give you 0, right?
Or sorry, when the condition is always true, right? I'm thinking that you don't want length while to return more than the length of the list, right? And length until shouldn't return more than the length of the list. So adding one could be a bug.
Right. So you have to test, is it equal to length? Length while is still, I don't know. I mean, take while is definitely, take until is definitely in the tail of the distribution. But it seems like a reasonable thing to have. I'm not passionate about it. I assume we do the C also to length while. So, for goodness sake. We should have length while and things here as well, but definitely fold while.
Yep.
Okay, I think we should wrap up.
Okay.
We'll eventually get to this. Sandra is asking, does the N argument, presumably in nest while, also support UpTo? It certainly should. How could we? An extra?
I mean, it has to be.
No, the M argument is what you're caring about. No, because that looks backwards.
Right, but the backward ones has to be auto UpTo, right? Or it doesn't.
Yeah, it won't make
or
any
it'll
sense
always
over.
fail.
Well, it will fail for the first few elements if it isn't auto UpTo.
Right.
And the n, it just keeps going, so there's no really up-to-ness in there.
Right.
I mean, I suppose this case with the minus, there could be a thing applied n fewer times. If I say minus 100 there, and I only applied it 20 times, what does it do? We should find out.
But that's a case where UpTo wouldn't work now because we had never had minus UpTo before.
Yeah, right. Right. So it won't work now, but I mean, the question is, what does it actually do in that case? Right. And we should just check. I'm not going to do that right now. There's
Okay.
too many arguments in this function. By the time we're at the 6th argument that we're checking, I'm not going to type them all in. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks a lot, guys.
Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.